Childhood, an age of innocence, fun, and wonder. But not every child has the privilege of experiencing a happy childhood. Sexual abuse and harassment can deprive kids of a normal and healthy life.
Millions of children in India were exposed to crimes such as sexual abuse, harassment, cyberbullying, and flooding. Well, according to the NCRB data 2020, up to 28.8% increase was seen in crimes against children in Tamil Nadu. Now let's find out why.
I would say this is, because of negligence from the parents and from the authority and all the sides. We can say this could be the reason, because at home, during the pandemic time, there was a hike. Really, yes, I do agree for that, because see, kids are not coming out and they were staying inside with the family. Even that time, that kids were not, happy and not safe. There could be lot of reasons are there. I would say that, there is no proper awareness. Okay, so far we didn't make so much awareness, and it didn't reach the people, that end user. They didn't get our awareness. That's the main thing. And moreover, uh, and that authorities, they're not taking that action stringent. That law is very stringent, but that enforcement is very, very slow, and it is inactive even now.
Around 3,000 cases were registered in Tamil Nadu under protection of children from sexual offences. But what about the cases that go unregistered?
Even though no, if they register it, they are very hesitant in carrying it forward. A lot of times it happens, that children don't straight away come to you and report it. There are various signs which they drop, like the child which was 7 years old, the male child. He used to be very quiet. He used to be afraid of that uncle. He doesn't want to go to play to him with him, and all these kinds of things. So parents have to, I think, needs to take care of. I know this is kind of liability I'm again making them responsible for, but yes. So what we have seen, the child have, most of the cases, it is reported after 2 months on an average. So by that time, the medical evidence is not there if there is no continuous, sexual assault. And also, these you won't be able to very strict to the criminal law when it comes to your child, because what happens in FIR, they would not be so open to you. When the police ask what has happened, they would just say, "Uncle, ye kya tha, ye kya tha."
Dr. Radha Balachander's Kid Care Rehab Center in Royapeta, Chennai has been aiding autistic and specially abled children, along with those who have had past experiences of sexual assault, abuse, and harassment via therapy and counseling.
உறுப்பினர் அவர்களையும் மிகச்சிறந்த சமூக ஆர்வலர், மருத்துவர், காவேரி மருத்துவமனையின் பொதுநல மருத்துவர், முன்னாள் முதல்வர் முத்தமிழ் கலைஞர் அவருக்கும் இந்நாள் முதல்வருக்கும் தனி மருத்துவராக இருக்கின்றவரும் விடுதலை போராட்ட
Parents play an important role in children's healing by helping them cope and by providing them a sense of security.
Many apps now developed. We have to educate them in all the possible ways to teach them what is good touch, what is bad touch, and everything to be brought into their notice practically, if not theoretically, in the way they understand. And I think parents have to teach them in all the grounds to make them understand what exactly you have to undergo in your life when you go out of your family, and how to trust people and whom not to trust. So everything has to be taught practically than theoretically in their own way, so that they can understand you better in all the other things.
In order to decipher the rise in number of sexual abuse cases, it is important to understand the behavioral patterns in children.
Find out. So, and what I realized that there is no one change that happens. Okay. So I would say it's a multi-dimensional change which happens, and one has to be observant of what's happening. One of the frequent things that most of the teachers and parents have told me is that a very sudden change in the behavior of child, especially young children. So what happens with little older children or little adolescent children is that they can speak up, they can talk, they can say what they think is happening to them. With the younger crowd, what happens, they necessarily don't have all those cognitive and mental faculties to formulate what's happening with them and be able to communicate with someone. Since they cannot speak up much, so behavioral changes are quite prominent. For example, there will be evident social withdrawal. There will be quite a lot of sadness. There will be quite, they may suddenly remain very irritable for no reason. Irritable for no reason. You cannot find out anything else, but the child is irritable. Sometimes there is a sexualized behavior. The child is talking or expressing sexual knowledge way beyond their age. So these are the ways in which sometimes you get to notice academic decline, sudden academic decline, sudden changes in behavior, in mood, unexplained irritability, unexplained withdrawal, sadness, inability to get involved in many things. So I think those are, I would say, the behavioral changes, but I would specifically like to talk about the emotional changes. I think at the emotional level, I know it may not be very well formulated, but many of these children, you would find, a lot of fear reactions, fearing adults, fearing bathroom, fearing private places, fearing touch, or, a little older one will tell you that they've started hating their body, or they have started, they resist even doctor touching the body. So then you get to see that the person is quite touch sensitive. So I know these are the subtle cues, but one has to be observing that what is happening with the child, because child may not always all the time say these things, right? All this leads to a lot of psychopathology, developing psychopathology. For example, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It happens in children. So they have nightmares, very scary nightmares. They can get up being so scared and need to hug a secure parent or dependent parent and need to just be close to them in those hours. They can have regular flashbacks happening. Or you would notice the sudden avoidance to certain places, certain relatives, certain home space, or certain clothing, or spending excessive time in bathroom, or spending, like I said, talking a lot of sexual stuff. So you get to notice that, okay, like I said, it's a multi-dimensional change. It's very difficult to say that the child will only be impacted by, or can be impacted in one domain.
The National Institute of Mental Health defines childhood trauma as the experience of an event by a child that is emotionally painful or distressful, which often results in lasting mental and physical effects. Although 2 years have passed since the pandemic year, crimes against children are still on the rise.